the old man here. We got the lady right here. Got the good furniture. You got sunshine. And I got treats for the lady. She likes that. I don't know what kind of plant this is. I call it milkweed. You break it open, it's got milk in it. Yeah, she likes it. Yeah. So we got the sunshine, got the good furniture. Story time. We can throw our cares to the wind. There's enough of that going around. I'm doing okay. Yeah, I was just looking through my tablet I dug out the other day, and I thought, these are pretty easy to do. And so I'll tell you a good story. My daughter, 20 years ago, worked in Snowmass, Colorado. She loved this snowboard and got a job as an espresso girl and had a name tag that said the espresso chick. She didn't put her name on it. Yeah, so it had a lot of fun. Until I get this call. I get my cheaters on here. Lucy calls. Dad, my car is broke. Okay, I said. And I'm broke too. Okay. Well, I'll get the parts and the tools and I'll fly down. Cool, she says. The airplane ride. I was so pumped as I was dropped off at SeaTac Airport. My flight left at 7:30 p.m. I was there at 9 a.m. hoping to get out early on standby. I got to my gate and nervously signed in. Well, we'll let you know, she says. A short time later, my name was called over the loudspeaker, and I run to the desk. You'll be flying out on the next flight, 11 a.m. Yes, I will be flying in 30 minutes. Now, I'll tell you, the last time I flew an airplane was 34 years ago, so that's 54 years ago. And you could smoke on the plane, and I did at 14 or whatever it was. Thought it was pretty cool. I anxiously get in line. We slowly start loading. I give the attendant my ticket. Row 13 by the window. What luck, a window seat. I settle in my spot with coffee and vintage Popular Mechanics magazines. I like reading old stuff from the 30s and 40s. This is going to be so cool, right? Question mark. I was bummed out somewhat as the windows were small, maybe 10 inches square and low. I sat as low as I could in my seat and waited for the rush of flight. The engines crank up, louder, louder, louder. We taxi down the runway. I'm tripping. We get it all lined up and the captain puts the pedal down. This is going to be so cool. He kicks it in. The tires squeal and we are moving. Suddenly, the tire noise stops. We're in the air, heading up at a steep angle. Like a piece of candy is getting in my mouth. Yeah, the tires squeal and we are moving. Suddenly, the tire noise stops and we're in the air, heading up at a steep angle. Whoa, this isn't cool. This isn't fun. This is bad. I am not in my comfort zone. I didn't expect that. I see the wings flexing. I see all the small rivets and screws holding it all together. I see the ashtray in the armrest. This is an old airplane. This isn't good. I close my eyes and quietly panic. After what seemed like forever, I opened my eyes and peeked out my window. We are way up in the air, still cruising at a steep angle. I close my eyes again and pray. Finally, we level out. What am I doing? A little lady sitting next to me asks, "Do you like to fly?" I'm sure she could see the terror in my eyes, and it was. I was not comfortable at all. I haven't flown since. I'd like to go to Hawaii someday, but I think I'd have to take a slow boat. It takes 7 or 8 days maybe. That'd be all right. I told her, I said, well, I did when I was 14, I said. Does it always bump and bounce like this? I whimpered. Oh, yes, she goes, that's normal. Okay, Todd, we're going to be all right. I glance out the window, and it's just clouds and sunshine. This is still bad. The attendant asks, sir, would you like a drink? Why, yes, I would. Do you have tequila? No, we don't have that. We have whiskey. And I said, yeah, whiskey's good. And then she starts asking me what kind I want, and I'm just like begging her, just give me whiskey. Hadn't drank booze in maybe 5 times in the past 10 years, but now was the time. I shunned the glass of ice and asked for a chaser. Pepsi okay? Yes, anything, it'll be fine. Yes, yes, yes. I downed it in 2 gulps. I hope this works. Slowly the mild grog overcame me. Should I have another? What would Denver be like drunk at 2 p.m.? No, I'll tough it. I think I'll be fine. I read and avoid eye contact with the window. Finally, the captain said we'll be landing soon. Not soon enough for me. We start bumping and bouncing, and the lady next to me said, this is normal too, and she actually reached over and patted my hand. I wasn't comfortable at all. I closed my eyes and pray. I glanced out my window. We're still way up there. I closed my eyes and shudder. Bounce, bang, bump. I glance again. I can make out cars and roads down below. Again, I close my eyes and pray. This should be over soon. I glance out my window and I see pavement. We're maybe 20 feet off the ground. Whew. Close eyes, deep breaths, any second now. Finally, the tires screech and we skid to a stop. I take several cleansing breaths and thank the Lord. That's right, lady. You don't fly, do you? Let's see. I look out my window, and the service guys have short sleeves and shorts on. Hey, it's warm here. This should be good. I get out of the airport as soon as I can. The sun is out and it's hot. Oh yeah, this is good. I ask around and catch the bus to the Greyhound station. I met a Mexican guy who coached me. And I use that term. I have plenty Hispanic friends, whatever it is. They don't seem to be concerned about it, so please, I'm not being disrespectful. I met this Mexican guy who coached me. He'll show me to the bus and to the bus station. So far, so good. We drive through Denver's tough part of town. Sad. People hanging out on cement porches. Next, I see another crowd of guys hanging out on the sidewalk. One's in a wheelchair with a bottle of booze. Just like the movies. Yeah, what a way. The Denver bus station. And it's under construction. I don't know what they were doing, but they had stuff all over the place. The toilets were like a trailer kind of a thing brought up and set over off to the side. And it wasn't a bad part of town. It was pretty nice. Sometimes the bus stations are in the tougher part of town, but not this one. Outside, the crew of locals, cab drivers BSing. This really tough-looking chick, she looked bad. Her makeup was a mess from crying. Her hair was matted, her nylons were torn, sitting in the sunshine, smoking a cigarette, pulling it deep. She had a tough time, it looked like. I walked around town. I had an hour to kill before my bus left for Glenwood. I got a pop and walked back to the station. My bus leaves at 6 p.m., so I got there at 5:45 thinking no big hurry. Uh-oh. Line number 8 had 30 people in it, first come, first serve. I asked an older couple in front of me, who are obviously out of their comfort zone, they're kind of panicked, if this is a bus for Glenwood. They didn't know. They're heading to Las Vegas. The guy in front of them kind of buzzed on something. He's chewing gum and acting really nervous. Heard us talking, and he freaked out about what line he was supposed to be in. And then two more jock guys in front of him heard us all talking, and now they're worried too. So now what? We got 5, 6 people all in line panicking to get to Las Vegas. I risked losing my place in line, and I asked around and nobody knew. The burned out chick from out front cut in line with the jocks, and this should be a fun 3-hour ride. Finally, a bus station attendant calmly explained that lines 7 and 8 had gotten mixed into one. All the wild ones were going to Las Vegas, and me and the older couple were going to Glenwood. The bus ride was good, really nice scenery, cruising on the last new freeway built between 2 mountain ranges. And I remember reading about that. They had to do environmental checks and a million things to get that thing to happen, because it was the last section of the freeway that was just a 2-lane road, and they had to make it bigger. And they did a good job. It was very, I think it blended in pretty good. I chose the back of the bus. I missed the 3-man back seat, because then you can lay down, and there was a guy who already got there. I got second to last. As always, the toughs sit in the back, just like high school, right? And it was. There was a bunch of guys in there. The surfer dude and me in the back, and then these 2 black guys, one suit and tie, and his friend looked pretty rough. It was kind of an odd mix to see him sitting there. One guy's all decked out, and the other guy's looking like pretty rough. But it was cool. We all talked and joked. It was fun. About 3 hours into the flight, we stopped for a smoke break. It was almost dark, high up on a mountain pass, and it was cold. I just remember getting out kind of surprised. I walked around the bus a couple times and got back in the rig. We got to Glenwood and hooked up with Lucy, and I had the broken CV joint. I had brought one in a beater suitcase with the tool to install it. CV joints are big, kind of heavy things, and I took an old suitcase and cut holes in it and zip tied it so when you shook it, everything was solid, and the slide hammer too. The guys that checked it at the airport were impressed when they opened it up. They said, "This is good." And there was something about a question about the grease in the CV joint, and they kind of talked it over, because you're not supposed to have oil or anything like that, and they said it was okay. Got to Snowmass, Colorado, and it's like Aspen. It's a real high-end ski resort, way up in the hills there. And we went and got her car, and she knew the guys that worked in the shop, so they let us pull in there and change the CV joint. It wasn't a big job. It takes a little while. But yeah, it was kind of nice, because it was cold, and we're in a nice heated shop, and in the shop are snow cats for leveling the snow. And I'm not kidding you, the pads, the tracks, I guess, they were 4 or 5 feet wide, 4 of those. And then the back had like these big giant wings that folded out that kind of could have been 15, 20 feet across. And the guy who drove that, yeah, he just had to level the snow for the next morning. And he told me about working in snowstorms where it was just blinding, but yellow lights work really good in the snow. It almost makes the snow disappear. I don't know how that works. We had some on our DOT truck. So yeah, he loved it. He said he was thoroughly enjoying himself. And he worked the night shift, and we talked about that, because it's hard to get enough sleep working nights, but he seemed to be okay. I'm at the operator. Well, we got it fixed up and headed out. Had a great road trip home. Stopped by some hot springs. I can't think of the name of the town. And I met a guy whose job it was to get rid of radioactive stuff for the government. And we're like, it's kind of a natural pool setting. It wasn't like in the woods. It was, you know, they had towels and I think showers and stuff right there. And so this guy and I are talking, and we're talking. His job was taking apart some old office trailers that had become radioactive, and he said it was low-level radiation, so he didn't seem too concerned about it. He said they were suited up and they take all the precautions and stuff. Yeah, he said they had to take it apart and pack each piece. You know, screws and take everything apart slow but sure, just steadily tear it apart. And I said, I asked if the pay was good, and he just smiled, a big smile. He goes, yeah, it's okay. He said that the bid was close to $1 million to take apart maybe a half a dozen trailers and pack them up and get them out of there. Dangerous work. I hope he's okay. Kind of like that virus thing. It's like you can't see it, you can't smell it, but you know it's there, and it's scary. I don't know if I would do that. But yeah, he was good. He made plenty of money of that. We stopped by the salt flats west of Salt Lake City and got out in our bare feet and walked on the soft salt. It was cool. It was like they, I think, flood an area, and then the sun takes the water away, and then you got left this salt, and we walked out there. It's kind of like being at the beach, sort of soft and spongy. That was cool. Stopped in Reno and went to a casino, and when it was coin drops, that was fun. I'm not a heavy gambler at all, but I've gone to a few of them, and I know it. And the sound of the money coming down, that was fun. And when they changed to electronic, they had a recording of the money dropping down for a while just to try to make people happy. But so anyway, I'm sitting there with the slot machine. I've got my legs crossed, and I had a cigarette I was smoking at the time in my hand. And Lucy took a picture of me. And so we're talking at my mom's house, and we're showing pictures and stuff. She looks at it and she goes, "You're smoking a cigarette." And I said, "And I thought you were supposed to be going blind." But she could see that little thing in the picture. If folks worry, that's what they're supposed to do, I guess. We stopped by Burley, Idaho on the way home. Lucy wanted to get home, and I kind of wanted to take my time. And I said, we got to stop here, because it's a time, and I think it's still a common word, that Burley was a tough word. You could have a burly truck or a burly set of tires or burly anything. So I wanted to see if I could get maybe a road sign and, hey Rudy, something with burly on it. And we stopped in, and like I say, Lucy's like, "Come on, Dad, let's go." And I said, "Yeah, give me a minute." And this guy took me into the old part of the shop and gave me some peel and stick stickers. They were oval, about this big, green with a picture of a big potato on it, and Burley, Idaho. And I told the guy, I said, "You guys should have like Burley Days or something like that." And they go, "What do you mean?" And I said, I tried to explain to them over on the West Coast that was a cool word to call it, a burly, whatever it is and stuff. And he'd never heard of that. So yeah, he gave me some of those. I still got them. I was going to bring it out and show you, but I need to learn how to edit so I can add pictures and stuff, because I got another story I want to do. And yeah, I've tried a couple times and it just overwhelms me, I guess. So we stopped in Burley and hung out there, took a bunch of pictures, and then highballed it home from there. Yeah, I think she worked a couple times down in Colorado, because she liked to snowboard, and when you worked there, I think it was free or really cheap, and yeah, you could snowboard all you want on her lunch break and stuff. I skied when I was a kid. Snowboards weren't even around then, and it was fun, but I was never super brave. Maybe a little bit, but yeah, for the most part, I never even got to the point where I could go up to chair. I was just definitely a rope tow guy, and that was fun. It was good. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the story. I got another one in here about my train trip, and I'll just look into that and see about putting pictures in there, because it was a fun trip. I went from Everett to Chicago to New Orleans to Del Rio, Texas, California, and then came home. A lot of fun, and I wrote it all down. I think I said it when I did that video on the Kingdom. I thought I had lost this, and because it's just nothing special, just notes and stuff. And miscellaneous stories. I'll give you one last quick one, and we'll wrap it up. The Flying Finger. This was a story that was on the radio in 2001. A maintenance guy at an apartment complex found a human finger in the parking lot. And it was on the news, and they called the cops, and there was a whole mess of people there. And as they're standing there talking, a raven comes down and grabs the finger and flies away with it. So they never got to know who it was. They couldn't fingerprint it or nothing. And it was pretty comical that they made comments that next time put a cup over it or something so the bird wouldn't fly away with it. But that's what he did. I wonder where that thing ended up. So everyone stay safe. We still got trouble. Pray for America, our world. Just stay safe, and thank you. And thank you again. And I do appreciate the thumbs up. That's my paycheck. See you later.